So once you've finished optimizing your listing, and I say that tongue in cheek, there actually is no finishing, right? You're actually continually optimizing your listing, but you must do it with data. So what I mean by that is you don't want to just be every week just changing the keywords and changing the images, right? You want to kind of let it run because you need the sales data to dictate to you if something needs changing. So let's just say you've set the listing up as best as you possibly can, because it'll just come to a point where you're like, look, I've done everything I possibly can at this point. You then monitor the sales, and then a month later you might do something like change one of the images out. Maybe there's an image there that could have some more beneficial information within the image rather than actually in the bullet points, because people are visual. So you might put something in your image, for example, your yoga mat, that has a picture that shows the length of the yoga mat, like in actual image form, rather than just writing it's, 3 meters long by 1 meter. You might actually put that. And you could also do something like, putting the old fashioned can of Coke in the image, which gives people a visual cue as to how big your yoga mat is. So that's something you might want to test. But again, let it run for like a month, assess the data, like assess the sales before you make any more changes after that. But if you've gotten to that stage, you're well and truly off to the races. Another thing that comes up quite often is, do I need to launch one product, or should I launch, 5 or 10 products? And it really comes down to where you are in your life, and meaning financially, because obviously more products means more money. Do you have the time and the money to launch multiple products? Now, in the perfect world, I would say yes, launch multiple products, because what can happen is you launch your first product and let's just say it's a dud. And look, mostly your first product probably will, because you're kind of still learning. But you launch your first product, let's say it takes you 2 months to research it. You then have to get it manufactured in China. It's another 3 months. And so you could be talking upwards of 6 months just to launch your very first product, to then only find out that it wasn't really that great. Then you got to start the process again, right? So you could be talking anywhere from like 12 months by the time you actually get to your second product. And look, I've made that mistake myself, right? I've done exactly the same thing. But also my finances at the time didn't dictate that I could afford multiple products. And I didn't have a mentor at the time who was kind of giving me the day-to-day play of how I could optimize my launch. And that's why I always say having a mentor who's still in the trenches on a daily basis, like myself. I'm still selling on Amazon even now, and also Shopify around the world. So I know what's happening, and I can kind of look back and steer people in the right direction of how it would best suit them. So the second option is then, of course, kind of like rapid fire, which is like 5 to 10 products at one time. And they're not just going to be any old products. You're going to do your due diligence and find, though, that perhaps I've got a case right now where the guys actually found that, in the yoga mat industry, let's say, he could launch 5 different colors. Okay, so rather than launching just the pink, he actually launches a pink and a blue and a yellow, etc. And then what he does a very low MOQ. So we're not talking 1,000 units per product. We're talking like maybe 50 units per product. He puts them into the marketplace. And then what he will find is that he might find that one particular color does extremely well, right? And so therefore, what does he do? He just doubles down on, let's say it's the hot pink. He just goes back to the factory, orders like a truckload of hot pink, and triple down on that particular color. And that way you can sort of not miss out on finding the one that really stood out. Because if you'd only launched fluoro yellow and it didn't do so well, then you got to go back to the drawing board, and this can just cost you time. It can actually in the long term cost you money. And if you're someone like me who wants to get to the levels of success of, let's say, 8 figures a year, like in no time at all, then you probably want to go for the rapid fire approach, as well as tapping into your mentor's experience.